Muta Mitsuki is transported from Japan to another world by the king of Grisarika Kingdom, who evaluates him for a power known as pure concept. Mitsuki is shocked when the king summons another individual, a girl from Japan, and subsequently expels him from the castle. He encounters a priestess named Minu, who reveals that people from Japan with powers, referred to as Lost Ones, have been summoned throughout history to such an extent that Japanese culture has permeated the world. Minu also explains that society is divided into commoners, the nobility called the noblesse, and the church known as the Faust. As Mitsuki explores his power, he discovers that his pure concept is extremely destructive. Minu kills him instantly, revealing herself as an assassin for the church, tasked with eliminating Lost Ones before they can pose a threat to the world. She reports her successful kill and the presence of the second Lost One, the girl summoned after Mitsuki, to Archbishop Orwell. A flashback reveals that Minu's village was destroyed by a Lost One before being killed by Flare, the assassin who trained Minu. Minu is supported by Momo, her devoted aide. Soldiers attack, disclosing the king's plan to use the girl's exceptionally powerful pure concept to overthrow the church and rule independently. Minu kills the soldiers and then infiltrates the castle where the Japanese girl Akari Takedo is held. Akari discloses that her pure concept is a healing ability before Minu assassinates her. However, upon Akari's death, her power activates, revealing it is actually the pure concept of time, which reverses her body to a state before her death, reviving her with no memory of dying. Minu contacts Orwell, informing her that Akari's power renders her immune to assassination. Deeply concerned about a pure concept that manipulates time, Orwell orders that Akari be brought to her in Garm within 3 days for a ceremony intended to kill her. Minu discovers that Akari is absent-minded but also a romantic who seeks adventure. She persuades Akari that the ceremony will send her back to Japan, though Akari is disappointed, feeling that meeting Minu was destined. Meanwhile, the church arrests King Grisarika for heresy. Momo is displeased that Minu must spend time with their target and insists on secretly accompanying them to Garm. Minu warns Akari not to use her power, but Akari almost immediately uses it to heal a young girl's injured hand, forcing Minu to divert nearby royal soldiers' attention to avoid detection. Akari is impressed by Minu's abilities. Momo notices Ashuna, Grisarika's daughter, on the same train to Garm. Minu feels regretful about leading Akari to her death. Terrorists targeting Ashuna hijack the train. Momo discovers that the terrorists plan to exchange Ashuna for their imprisoned leader. On the train's roof, Momo encounters Ashuna, who, upon recognizing Momo as a priestess, attacks her and deduces that her target Aika must be on the train. The defeated terrorists reveal their mission is suicidal. They have swallowed ether crystals that absorb their bodies and form an armored warrior to destroy the train. During their fight, Momo and Ashuna fall off the train. The warrior damages the train's engine, causing it to accelerate uncontrollably. Minu, Ashuna and Momo suddenly experience intense deja vu. Minu is joined by Akari, who expresses her worry. Minu defeats the warrior and reprimands Akari for risking herself and forcing Minu to use more power defensively. With her power depleted, Minu reluctantly borrows power from Akari to stop the train, leaving them both exhausted but exhilarated. Momo is frustrated as her duel with Ashuna continues into the next morning without conclusion. Minu is troubled by the unsettling feeling that the train did crash, killing everyone including herself, which suggests Akari might have reversed time for the entire world by several minutes to save everyone. As Minu and Akari continue their journey to Garm, Minu reflects on her childhood after being rescued by Flare. The destruction of her village left Minu with a bleached soul, stripping her of all desires and motivations, compelling her only to follow Flare. After witnessing Flare execute numerous Lost Ones, Minu resolves to become Flare's apprentice. Despite Flare's warnings that executioners like her are villains, intrigued by Minu's sudden determination, Flare decides to train her to become a perfect copy of herself. In the present, Minu and Akari arrive at Garm, where Akari asks Minu to take her on a date and show her around the city. At the cathedral, Orwell welcomes the two girls, informing them that the special chamber will be ready in 2 days. Meanwhile, Minu is tasked with investigating the mysterious disappearances of young girls. Minu assigns Momo, who successfully evaded Ashuna, to handle the investigation so she can keep her promise to Akari for their date. Minu and Akari spend time together before heading to the special chamber, where Minu prepares to witness Akari's death. Meanwhile, Momo continues investigating the missing women and follows a lead into the underground sewers. There she encounters Ashuna, who suggests forming a temporary alliance to uncover what is happening beneath Garm. Underneath the palace they discover a summoning chamber, indicating that the noblesse in Garm are involved in summoning. However, Ashuna notes that the noblesse lack the knowledge of summoning which is exclusive to the Faust, implying that a high-ranking Faust must be collaborating with them. Momo deduces that only Orwell could be behind this and sends a warning to Manu before she and Ashuna are attacked by monsters. Manu attempts to disrupt the ritual but is cornered by Orwell, who reveals her plan to use the chamber to erase Akari's mind, enabling her to exploit Akari's pure concept to reverse her aging and achieve immortality. Orwell admits to being responsible for the missing women, as she used them in failed youth experiments before Akari was summoned. She intends to use Manu as a sacrifice to power the ritual and summons a monster to attack her. While Manu battles Orwell's monster, the Archbishop reveals that her tampering with an Outworlder's power was what destroyed Manu's home village. Just as Manu is about to be sacrificed, Akari's pure concept of time activates automatically. This power retrieves Akari's memories, soul and spirit to a specific point in time, allowing her to consciously use her pure concept to its fullest before she willingly erases her conscious knowledge of it again. When one of the monsters she and Ashuna are fighting destroys her hair ribbons, a gift from Manu, Momo goes berserk, damaging the palace and then attacking Orwell's cathedral, enabling Akari to rejoin Manu. Manu taps into Akari's pure concept, causing Orwell to superage to death, and Ashuna departs. However, during their merging, Manu and Akari experience troubling visions of their future together, where Akari unintentionally causes Manu's death after Manu fails to kill her. Akari expresses her wish for Manu and only Manu to kill her before this happens. Manu realizes that the visions are actually flashbacks from the future, revealing that Akari has used her pure concept to rewind time by several months after causing Manu's death, which also resulted in Akari losing her conscious memories of their time together. Manu takes Akari to the sanctuary, supposedly a residential area for lost ones. They stop in Libel, a port city and the site where one of the 4 major human errors, the pandemonium, manifested and was sealed away. The city also serves as a base for the 4th, a group that includes Count Libel, the city's ruler, and his daughter Manon, who have a deadly feud with Flair. Upon learning of Manu's presence in town, the 4th decide to assassinate her, fearing she might interfere with their plans. Manu meanwhile plans to eliminate Akari by drugging her and sending her through the fog wall, isolating the pandemonium from the rest of the world. However, Akari's power activates again, returning her to Manu's side. Manu's resolve starts to waver as she develops feelings for Akari. Meanwhile, Manon leads a young girl into an Iron Maiden-like device to harvest her blood. With the attempt to trap Akari in pandemonium failing, Manu returns to Libel with her, only to be ambushed by members of the 4th. The attackers are defeated and arrested, but Manon forcibly turns them into monsters to prevent them from revealing any secrets. The other members of the 4th confront Manon, as Monstrin is meant to be an addictive and euphoric substance sold to fund their operations and hold people hostage with the threat of turning them into monsters. Manon reveals she secretly slipped Monstrin into their food, leaving them no choice but to follow her orders as she continues her plans against Manu to avenge her mother's death. Pastor Silica tasks Manu with stopping the production of Monstrin in exchange for travel funds. Momo begins investigating the source of the Monstrin and encounters Ashuna again, who is also investigating the 4th. Manu secures an invitation to a ball Manon is hosting but is forced to bring Akari along when she insists on attending. Manu uses the ball as a cover to infiltrate Libel Island and gather evidence implicating Manon in the production of Monstrin. However, she encounters Ashuna, who challenges her to a duel. Forced to engage, Manu evades Ashuna but loses her opportunity to scout the castle. Meanwhile, Akari regains her memories and realizes that events in this timeline have diverged significantly from previous ones. Manon approaches Akari, revealing that she knows Akari is a lost one. Determined to understand the timeline's divergence, Akari follows Manon. Momo infiltrates the Monstrin production facility and opens the Iron Maiden. Finding the girl inside, this action triggers an explosive trap, incapacitating Momo with a poison spike. Upon learning of Momo's discovery, Manu asks Pastor Silica to have the authorities surround Libel Island, As they now have sufficient evidence linking Manon and the fourth to monster production, as the authorities lay siege to the island, Akari confronts Manon seeking answers. Manon reveals that someone informed her about Akari regressing the timeline multiple times, which enabled her to change it by gaining the knowledge to obtain forbidden power. She uses Monstran to give herself a living shadow and attacks Akari, but Manu arrives just in time to save her. Manu then faces off against Manon, who reveals that her goal was to obtain taboo power to provoke the Faust into killing her, just like they did to her mother, a lost one killed by Flare. Manu mortally wounds Manon, who uses her death as a sacrifice to summon the young girl, who reveals herself to be the human heir Pandemonium. Like Akari, Pandemonium cannot be killed due to her pure concept, which automatically regenerates her every time she is killed. Pandemonium then challenges Manu to find a way to kill her as she summons an army of monsters. Manu continues to fight Pandemonium but soon starts to deplete her ether. Luckily, Ashina arrives and offers crucial support, enabling Manu to cast a powerful spell to trap Pandemonium. However, Pandemonium escapes and summons a large monster. Meanwhile, Akari decides to use her power to heal Momo but is confronted by a clone of Pandemonium. The clone reveals that Akari's repeated timeline resets are causing the world to slowly collapse, weakening the fog wall enough for Pandemonium to push a small part of her real body through. Pandemonium also tells Akari that her attempts to be killed by Manu are futile due to more powerful beings like Flare, who have access to the astral archive interfering. She then informs Akari that there is a way to return to Japan. Outside, Manu realizes that the monster Pandemonium summoned can only manifest temporarily before being pulled back into the fog wall, the same fate awaiting Pandemonium. However, before she is fully pulled back in, Pandemonium transforms herself into a monster for one final battle against Manu and Ashina. Manu and Ashina engage in a battle against Pandemonium but are forced to split up when Pandemonium sends her minions to attack the town. While Ashina defends the town, Manu faces Pandemonium alone and only manages to prevail when Ashina lends her sword and Akari arrives with a weapon. Manu powers up Ashina's sword with Akari's ether and destroys Pandemonium. As her body dissolves, Pandemonium reveals to Manu that the Sword of Salt, a byproduct of another human error, can destroy any pure concepts including Akari. Troubled, Manu wonders what she would do if she found a way to ensure Akari wouldn't be a threat without killing her. Akari once again suppresses her memories, and the two decide to continue their journey. Meanwhile, Momo sees Manu's growing friendship with Akari and vows to kill Akari in Manu's stead. Manon is revived by another Pandemonium fragment, and it is implied that Pandemonium is Manon's older sister, sent to this world far ahead of her mother. Manon agrees to help Pandemonium spread chaos across the world. Elsewhere, Flare is informed that the Pandemonium and Mechanical Society human errors are becoming active. Encouraged by this news, Flare resolves to kill Manu again to continue forcing Akari to reset the timeline.